DisAfterDark is a member of the MiceChat Podcast Network, MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature and mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other blogger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Let's put on the show.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Dis After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Oh, is that us? Are we recording? Oh, hello. Welcome back to the Mouse's Head. I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Paul.
And joining us, introduce yourself, chap.
This is Bart.
And we'll introduce Bart a bit later. Bart's a friend of ours from the far side of the pond, so that's another American accent in the bar tonight. So
It just hopped off the Concorde. What a flight.
Amazing.
Other forms of transport are available.
I hope they are, because Concorde itself isn't.
Yeah.
But there we go. We all shows. Gentlemen, that's the intro out of the way. What are we drinking?
Well, because by the time we're recording this, it is Super Bowl Sunday even. And I'd like to congratulate the Seattle Seahawks on winning. Or I'd like to congratulate the Denver Broncos on winning. And Paul,
are you expecting me to end it, aren't you?
Okay. Yeah. And in celebration of that, Coors Light.
Okay. Then.
Nothing but American beer. I'm starting now. I'm actually going to stay up and watch the game because to American listeners, because of the time difference, it starts here about 11 p.m. and is scheduled to finish around about 3 a.m. I'm off work the next day for that reason. So this is the first of many beers.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those evenings. Mr. D.
Okay, I've gone for a Jungle Book theme. I've got a bottle of Cobra, and then in reserve, I've got a bottle of Tiger as well. So cheers.
Cheers.
And given that I'm up for work at 5 tomorrow, I will not be watching the Super Bowl. Cheers.
Cheers. Bart, what's the drink of choice?
Well, since I'm calling the UK, I thought I'd, when in Rome, so to speak, I'll have a Boddington's.
Nice.
Wise choice, sir. Oh, yes. Much respect to that. I've gone for the only can I could get at last notice. So I've gone for a couple of cans of Banks's Bitter. Working on the theory that perhaps with modern times being what they are, Banks's Bitter is having a bit of the brewery's having a bit of a problem. So I'm helping them out and therefore saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah, they do get more tenuous than that part, actually.
Yeah, we haven't a really, really tenuous one for a little while, have we? We might have to...
The thing is, I think we did so well at the beginning. We tried really hard.
And
we got a lot of the good ones out of the way.
It actually went to the room where we actually did some shopping the week before to get the beer in for it.
Yeah,
and now it's like, we're recording tonight, in fact, go down the offing.
Yeah, and the thing is, as long-time listeners will tell you, one thing that we don't do very well is prepare, so...
That's it. But should long-time listeners want to make contact with, or even fresh new listeners, how would they do that?
Yes, well, of course, they can visit our website at www.DisAfterDark.com, or they can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
We're also on Twitter at DisAfterDark and on Facebook at facebook.com/DisAfterDark. And you can find us on MiceChat.com.
Yeah, we're there on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, etc. And Bart, we'll be finding out a lot more about you later. Because normally we have other podcasters on, but you're not a podcaster, are you?
Oh, I am. I have a show, Ears of Steel, the podcast. It's on iTunes and on my website, earsofsteel.com.
I'll edit that bit out because I was just going to go with the author bit.
That's all right. It stands to reason you wouldn't know. Most people don't.
I've just really insulted someone, so there we go.
Not me.
We're off to a flying stop already.
To be fair, it makes a difference from insulting the French or Germans or...
Yeah, actually insulting guests. Yeah, I was here because you're an author and we were going to talk about your book. But we'll talk about your podcast as well, in which case, how do they find you?
The simplest way is earsofsteel.com or facebook.com/earsofsteel.
And I'll just go on and like that to make up for the mistakes I made once I've made.
Well, see, there you go. You did, believe me, there's nothing to make up for. You're in the majority.
Excellent. Well, we'll introduce
Not after tonight.
Not after tonight. I'm counting on it now.
That's what
I'm holding you to it.
But on with the show. The first bit we always do, and this might be the last time we do this, because our social media chief executive officer is trying to get us to have a bit of a change. And seeing as every show does news, we're going to try and come up with something different. So, for possibly the very last time...
A view of the news with DisAfterDark.
Right, has anyone got anything interesting for us?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you said interesting. So...
Okay.
Mildly interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go mildly.
Potentially, yeah. Let's go for a potential.
At least it's genuine news this week.
Go on.
I'll go first because we seem to be stalling for no apparent reason whatsoever. So,
I'm hoping you've got something better than me, Nick.
Nah. So to paraphrase an old song, there's a rat in the kitchen and what me gonna do?
All right.
Which I've now insulted just another type of community there with that rendition. But we go over to Disneyland Paris and specifically Walt Disney Studios where they had a special press announcement the other day for Ratatouille, the ride. Yeah.
Excellent.
Involving all... Huh?
Do you know what they said? Or was it in French?
Yeah, not much. No, they had a world famous chef by the name of Paul Bocuse, who, in all honesty, I'm not really familiar with his work. If it's not Heston, Colonel Sanders, or Gordon Ramsay, I'm not really familiar. Oh, Wolfgang Puck, I know him as well. But apparently he's a world famous chef, and they were there to kind of do a little bit of promotion for the Year of the Rats in Disneyland Paris, and of course the opening of Ratatouille. I
was actually hunting around for Rat in Me Kitchen, and all I found is albums by the Rat Pack, the Bootown Rats, and an 80s hair metal band called Rat. So you have to make do without any music.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, that's what happens. We never prep. Yeah. But the general consensus is that it's still all systems go, and it's looking like it'll be a late June launch for the ride. Now, it'll be quite near to Bastille Day, so which obviously falls in July. So I do wonder if they're going to kind of do soft opening around that time, with like a launch around then. You know, they still haven't announced anything, so it's obviously still up in the air. But you know, it would make sense to kind of feature a French attraction at a French theme park to be launched on a special day.
Yeah, are the French the only country in the world that have a bank holiday or national holiday named after a band?
Yeah, well, there is that 90s Britpop outfit, Martin Luther King.
Yeah, all right.
By the way, don't look them up. They didn't actually exist. That was a terrible joke. But I was trying to think of another named bank holiday.
Yeah, spur of the moment there. No problem. Yeah. Fantastic. All right, then. So we're looking at June for the Ratatouille.
I'm hoping, I'm obviously hoping a bit before that. Yeah. I will be heading out around May time. So I was hoping it might be open then. I didn't really want to have to squeeze in another trip to Disneyland Paris this year. Yeah. But it would be very rude of the only person not being able to get to a Florida theme park to not be able to go to Disneyland Paris when a new attraction opens. So
I mean, I don't want to gloat or anything. I'm not too excited about Ratatouille because I've already been on Mystic Manor and it's the same ride system. So
You can take it or leave it.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's it. Mr. D, have you noticed anything in the news recently?
A few little things. So Nick and I both fans of Frozen, I think. Bart, don't know about you.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Big fan of it.
Paul, have you seen it yet?
No.
Come on,
Paul
get
is
your
the
finger
most-
out, man.
This is the whole Disney podcast listening community. I think it's fair to say that the main man on this show, Mr. Paul Boniface, is terrible at being a Disney fan by being the only person in the world, it seems, to have not seen Frozen, even on a hooky copy.
I've deliberately avoided getting a dubious copy of it because I didn't want to ruin it.
To be fair, it is, and this I hope this actually. Paul, go on your news side. I don't want to be treading on your feet. I think I might be.
So that's okay. All right. So for those who have seen Frozen and haven't had enough of it, Disney's going to release a sing-along version of Frozen.
There you go.
There we go.
Damn it.
So Paul, you've got a second bite of the apple, as it were. Oh no, that's Maleficent. Sorry, wrong movie.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, for someone who hasn't actually seen it, that's exactly the same bit of news I picked, so I'm just going to hunt around for something else. It was bound to happen after so many episodes.
It's interesting, though, because, I mean, they're re-releasing it in time for half-term, which also sees the release of two other quite big animated films in Mr. Peabody and Sherman, which is coming out, which actually does look very good. And also the Lego Movie, which also looks brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they're pushing that back out, even though it's never actually gone away. While those two films are launching as well, which is gonna be a busy week for parents with kids. It's half-term week if you're going to the pictures.
And is this a leading into them doing it with all their other musical movies?
No, I think it's more just the fact that Frozen has just become such a juggernaut. I mean, it's scary. It is absolutely scary how. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really do feel it's deserved, but I think no one anticipated how big it's become. Now, I'm sorry to bring this onto Vinyl. However, Mr. Boniface.
You're not.
I know. Mr. Boniface very kindly bought for both, and it was for both of us, for myself and Lindsay, the Frozen set of Vinyl of the two princesses. That, because it was a fairly limited number, but not so much in the terms of Vinyl. I'd say it's a pretty average release size, but it is now going for about 9 times its retail cost. Purely because when it came out, no one was really sure how successful the film was going to be, and so people kind of slept on it a little bit. And most Funimation releases of that size sell out in months, not in days or weeks, and these are now impossible to get hold of. And even they did an OLAV as well, and the OLAV by himself is going for about 10 times the original retail price at least. Wow. So it's really, and I mean that's just Funimation. I mean the toys are hard to get hold of in the shops. Yeah. As we mentioned before, it's just a juggernaut. I understand exactly why they're doing it. Yeah. So go and see it, Paul. You've now got another chance to see it.
Yeah, I might have to. I don't know the actual songs really either. So I can try and sing along to them I don't know this song style.
But that's great because they have a little bouncing Mickey head or something.
It's a snowflake, isn't it?
Oh, it's a snowflake. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Is it going to take the same life eventually as things like the Rocky Horror Show? Are people going to end up dressed up in stockings and suspenders going to see? No, it's wrong. Hang on. In Frozen outfits going to.
I'm glad you corrected yourself there.
I might just go along in stockings and suspenders and say, sorry, wrong movie.
We could produce a little pub singer short before the sing-along Frozen. How about that?
I don't know if he'll beat Get a Horse though.
We arrange a DisAfterDark night out to go and see it and take the pub singer with us.
Yeah.
Record it.
That'd be awesome.
We know how to get hold of the pub singer, so let's make it happen.
Oh,
yeah,
we do.
Carry on. No, so go ahead, Paul.
I was going to go arty-farty now. Did anyone see over the last couple of years, is it Annie Leibovitz's photographs?
Yeah.
She's done of various celebrities in Disney costumes and as characters.
Oh, yeah.
And she's back again this year. So she's done the same one. So we might have to put some links across to the site on them, but there's some brilliant pictures.
So who's she done this year?
Well, I've got Jessica Chastain
Yep.
as Merida.
Yep.
And there's some really nice ones. I have to put a link to them. I haven't really had a chance to study this news. So I'm just flicking through them randomly trying to find something. But she's done photographs. And I think it's another idea. Again, does anyone want for next year a DisAfterDark calendar? I don't know.
There's only 4 of us. What are you going to do for the other 8 months of the year?
We've got guests on.
Oh, that's true.
Bart, what costume have you got?
Well, I think I'll go as Merida too. I might have to shave them.
Actually, no shaving. Not much funnier. Yeah.
I'll dye my beard red with the rest of my hair. I'll look more like her father, which is scary, but.
Excellent.
Well, I did take a picture today of my custom-made Tron hat.
Saw that.
Yeah, where'd you get custom-made hats from?
Well, I'd love to tell you, but I mean, the thing is, they're not sponsoring the show. Actually, you know what? Maybe if I give them a plug, they will do. Because it is a little British company, so I should do. They're called Lucky7Caps.com.
Okay.
And their whole gimmick is they do patches, not O'Houlihan, but patches to stick on your hat, based on things from films. So, what's the company in Blade Runner?
The company?
Yeah.
That produces the robots.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is Wayland Yutani, but that was Alien, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm pretty sure they got a Wayland patch. So what they do is they see things in films, like logos and things like that, and they'll do those. So rather than do like Tron's logo or something like that, my hat is NCOM video game design or whatever. And they've got a patch of our Space Paranoids.
Cool.
Bike. So so it's things that you'd have seen in the film. But
so it wasn't actually custom made for you.
Well, yes, because the thing is, you have to choose. You choose the patch, and then you choose the style of hat.
Oh, okay.
The colour of the hat, and also their signature is like a wing kind of motif on the front of the cap, which you have to choose a colour as well. So the thing is, each hat will be unique to an extent.
Yeah.
You start with one thing and you kind of base around it. But
there are probably several million mathematical possibilities.
Exactly. And they, Tron is the only Disney film I remember seeing on there because it's probably got the things to do. But many Hollywood films and stuff like that. It's quite a cool little site, and they're not very expensive either. I got mine in a sale, but normally I think they retail about £25-30, something like that.
And what's the name of that company again?
Lucky 7 Caps.
Lucky 7 Caps.
Yeah. So I'll actually tweet them tomorrow and tell them what I've been telling stories of them.
Tell them they had their freebie.
Yeah.
I also bought a Flynn's Arcade Army hat, which the wife doesn't like. She doesn't like either of them because she says I'm
it's
over
fairly
30.
generic. What does an army hat look like? Because the ones I had were quite hard.
Yeah, no, not one of those ones. It's more American military.
Like a beanie hat?
No, it's got a peak.
All right.
Right.
Yeah,
Like a forage cap.
Picture. Yeah, I'll send you a picture of that one as well.
Okay.
But Flynn's Arcade, because my dog's named Flynn, after Flynn's Arcade, and Flynn's Arcade. So yeah, check them out.
How did you convince the missus to call your dog Flynn? Did you actually tell her that it's after Flynn Rider from Rapunzel? That was it.
Yeah. Well, what it was originally, we wanted a Disney name for a dog, so we was going to go with Archimedes.
Fair enough.
Of Sword and Stone.
All right.
It's a bit of a mouthful. So we were trying to think of other things. We didn't want to go Mickey or Pluto, it's too obvious. And because Tangle had been out, and I was like, Flynn, what about that? Because you've got Flynn Rider and you've got Tron. and we like both films. Well, I like John. She likes Tangled and I like Tangled. So it worked. And it's cool. He's a good dog. So it works out for the best. Which is why also my next child will be called Flynn.
Well, yeah, we went down that route with our eldest, Ellie.
Yep.
I managed to convince my wife that we were naming her after Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most beautiful queens England's supposed to have ever had, historically, etc., etc., and not after Eleanor, the 1960 whatever Mustang. Gone in 60 seconds.
Sorry, lads, I just got to put the kids to bed. Maleficent, get to bed.
Now, speaking of segues, has anyone seen the Maleficent, the new Maleficent trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Lana Del Rey's Once Upon a Dream.
Yeah, and Angelina Jolie is in the I'm not sure whether that's meant to be as hot as it actually is.
Well, Lindsay is a massive fan of Maleficent, by far her favourite villain. So we saw the trailer last night, and she said she was impressed with how it looked, but also was very impressed with Angelina Jolie's voice for Maleficent. So she really got it down to a T. And I did make a comment about how Maleficent's obviously like an evil witch, so there probably wasn't too much acting going on. She stole someone's husband. Let's be honest. But the thing that got me in the trailer,
we're never going to get her as a guest anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, other actors are available. Okay, just remember that. But the thing that got me in the trailer was the three fairies. Now you only see them for a slight glimpse, but then you said they've got the fairies wrong. They're much too young. They're wearing skirts, quite short skirts. When I've looked into it, it does look like they're not actually the fairy godmothers in the film. It's actually three pixies, and they've got slightly different names.
Okay.
So, where it's set over a different period of time, I think that's one of the changes they've done. So, as long as they haven't changed the fairy godmothers,
because pixies are allowed to wear shorter skirts than
look at Tinkerbell. Yeah. Like Pixie Fairy, is it?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at the photographs I had taken with her. I don't remember what she was wearing much.
Now, for those that have access to it, Once Upon a Dream by Lana Del Rey, as heard in the trailer, is available for free on the Google Play app. So for a limited time, I don't know how long it actually runs for. The trailer came out last week. It was still free as of now. I imagine it'll probably be nearer the film's release before they take it and make it a paid song again. But for anyone that wants to hear it, hasn't heard it yet, or just wants to have their own copy, then Google Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to risk the wrath of Disney copyright people on playing it. So. We'll ask the pub singer to do a cover of it.
It's a deal done with Disney. It's nothing dodgy. Yeah. And I do have just one small bit of news as well.
Keep it coming.
And this goes out to any parents of young kids. This will be of interest to. This week in the UK, they finally released toys of Henry Hugglemonster. Now
I'm going to edit some silence in there. I have no clue who you're on about.
We need a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Sound effect.
Now, Henry Hugglemonster is a Disney Junior cartoon. It's made by the same studio as...
I knew I had one somewhere.
Look, there are going to be people, thousands of people listening to this podcast going, well, I know who Henry Hugglemonster is. And people that don't should, okay? Because the theme tune's very annoying.
Educators.
It's like a Small World kind of annoying theme tune. It gets stuck in your head. But Henry Hugglemonster is a Disney Junior cartoon which is produced by the same film studio that does Doc McStuffins, which is actually based in Ireland, believe it or not. And it's a cartoon about a friendly monster. So it's a little bit like Monsters Inc., but at no point at all is it scary at all. They're all very, very friendly monsters, all bright and colourful, and they sing songs. What's great is Henry Hugglemonster has an English accent, but he sings in an American accent. which I always admire. And also, Paul, and this will interest you, one of the monsters is voiced by Brian Blessed.
Quick!
Golden's alive.
Quick! I'm on the wrong page of new sound effects.
Yeah, see?
Golden's alive?
Yeah. And so's Brian Blessed in this cartoon, so it's great. But yeah, for some reason, the cartoon's been on for about a year or so now. We've obviously not been aware of it that long. But they've only just started to release toys. They were already quite hard to get hold of this week. So I don't know if it's just because they just launched or people just been anticipating. But so my daughter Alice has a Henry and a summer cuddly toy. She's not allowed them to her birthday, so we had to hide them from her. Otherwise she'd want them now. But yeah, anyone in the UK, I don't think they've made America yet. The cartoon has, but not the toys.
I so don't watch enough television.
Now, can I interject here? Because
feel free, because we want you to get a word in edgeways. Not just sit there listening to us.
I'm just enjoying listening, but me thinks there might be some casting switches, because over here Henry doesn't have an English accent.
Yeah,
I don't think he has his voice is kind of gravelly, but and I don't think I've ever heard Brian Blessed. Again, I have young children, so I'm quite familiar with Henry Hugglemonster and his theme song that I find myself singing. Yes, I'm walking around the house too, so I'm right there with you. But I think I have a feeling they may have switched up some of the voice actors before they sent it over here.
Well, see, this is exactly what I was trying to say to my wife the other day. I rewound a clip where he's talking and starts singing, and I was like, it's clearly a different voice actor.
A different voice?
No, it's not a different voice actor. I'm like, Henry Hugglemonster doesn't sing in an English accent, he sings an American accent, he talks in an English one, there's got to be something amiss. Now, the actual...
Well, I'm outraged that I don't get Brian Blessed over here. I'm going to write a letter.
Dear Disney Junior. The talking Henry, at least in the UK, definitely has his TV UK voice. So interesting to see when they release him stateside what voice he comes with.
So from an English point of view, what English accent is it? Are we talking a Paul Dolan? UK?
That's not an English accent.
I understand that fact, but I'm merely saying
English accent.
Or a Newcastle.
Craig Lucas.
Yeah. How English does it need to be?
Calm down.
Or is it Jeremy Irons?
It's a child's one.
All right, okay. So fine. I don't know where to go from there. So okay. Yeah, Bart, I can understand. The kids are a little bit older. I've got a 3 and a 7-year-old, and I don't watch enough Disney Junior to know who you're going on about. And you've got an 8-month-old and know it.
Well, as I said, she likes it. So
she likes it. Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I came across one other little piece of news when I was looking this week. Nothing to do with Disney, more Universal based, but the actual raptor cage from the original Jurassic Park movie can be yours. You can actually buy that from Theme Park Connections.
Yeah,
that's got to be good if you got young kids.
For a mere $100,000.
Is that all it is?
Yeah,
it's like 99 something.
Postage and packing to the UK. Get that through DHL or UPS.
Imagine,
I'm afraid the ad says you have to pick it up, so you're going to have to book book passage on a freighter, I guess.
Yeah. It's not going on as hand luggage, is it?
No.
Custom forms would read Raptor cage.
Yeah. What do you...
With Raptor.
Nice. Have you got any news for us, Bart?
I've been feeling out of the loop. I just today watched the video of Joe Rohde and is it John Landau talking about finally breaking ground on Pandora and what to expect. And I don't know. I can't remember if you guys have already talked about that. But
big blue bloke with a spade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that picture was interesting. But I mean, it's for me, it's nice to see that. They're finally talking about it and acknowledge, and it is, again, I fall in the very pro camp for that project. Sometimes I think I'm in the minority, but it's nice. It's nice to see it's happening. Although Seems like every time they bring it up, they subtly push the year back. Next time it'll be 2021, but it's coming.
Yeah, it's there somewhere.
Just to let you know, Bart, one of the reasons we're probably looking to get rid of the news segment is because I spent a good portion of the first year and a bit doing this show, turning around saying it's never going to happen. They just said it. It's going to be Star Wars land. What are they talking about? You know, they're not going to do a Smurfs thing after all.
Never going to happen.
Yeah, never ever going to happen. And I actually announced a death knell on this show. I was like, you know, pay me the money now. I was right. It's not going to happen. And then, of course, they said, yeah, no, it's definitely happening.
And we've broken ground on it.
And broken ground. So, you know, we've never proclaimed to be factually accurate on all of our news stories. Just
nor should you be. Why bother?
Thank you.
It's not nearly as interesting.
Other people could do that a lot better.
Right.
Etc. Anyway, it's your turn, Bart. Aside from the podcast, which you do and do very well.
Oh, thank you.
Good recovery.
I don't do news either, but
I don't think anyone noticed. We've gotten away with it. You have recently, and I say recently because I've only recently downloaded it, but it may have been up there for a year or two.
No, you're right. Just November.
Yeah, you have within the last few months put a book up on. Well, I've seen it in the iTunes bookstore as iBooks. Mm-hmm. Is it elsewhere?
It is. It's all over. It's iTunes, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. I don't know if you have Barnes and Noble over there, but it's a big book chain.
Yeah, we can get it on a Nook.
Okay. Yes, there for Nook, for Kindle. It's in the stores over here.
Oh, excellent. Hardback paper as well. So.
In fact, next time you come to Florida, I was notified it is in the Hudson's Bookshop at the Orlando Airport. So you can swing by and pick one up on your way to the Magical Express.
And this book we're talking about, because probably we haven't actually told it. Yeah, it's a book. Well done. Ears of Steel. And although that is the name of your podcast, where did the name come from?
No, that's both. Where did it come from? You know, I think I had the name before I ever wrote a single word of the book. I was just
a bit of a Batfink fan.
Wrong company. But yes. Should we talk about the Lex Luthor casting, or has that come over yet? No. So, anyway, back to Disney. Yes, Ears of Steel. The Real Man's Guide to Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a writer and I love Disney, so I wanted to kind of put the two things together. And I said, well, there's a million books about Disney already out there. I mean, if you go into any bookstore, the few that are left, go to the travel section, there's 100 of them. So I'm not the guy to, just as I don't do news and rumors on my podcast, I'm not the guy to write the typical travel book of get the best prices here and go here at this time to do that. That's not really my thing. I'm more about first of all, I got tired of just explaining why I was a grown man who loved Walt Disney World. And I think most guys like us. Yeah, I'm sure, it was much worse before I had children.
Fair enough, yeah. Okay.
And now I have an excuse. You're going for the kids. Yeah, the kids too, I guess.
Kind of. They're tagging
I suppose they can do something while we're there. But so the idea just kind of came to me, and I thought of the name first and just kind of went from there.
Filled in as you went along. So, say the Real Man's Guide to Disney. I mean, we are kind of a blokey podcast, and you start off with an introduction to women. For women, not an introduction to women. That would be a completely different book altogether.
Right.
We're possibly best not going there. So, yeah, you start off with an introduction for women. So, give this book to your bloke if you can't get him to go to Disney World and tell him why you should go. So, do you want to break down the sort of sections of the book so that our listeners all know what it contains?
The idea was, and let me first just preface by saying that the real man's guide, in quotes, is said with tongue planted firmly in cheek, of course. Anybody who's read the book, I mean, pretty much gets it right away.
Yeah.
And that's why we start off, because the reason I start the book by speaking to women first is, the book was inspired by some very real conversations of guys say they didn't want to go, but their families did, their wives did, their kids did. So the idea was, okay, let me talk to those wives and those girlfriends first and say, if you want to go, I can help, So here's what we're going to do. Here's the game plan. Now open up to the next page and slide the book in front of his face and back away carefully. But, and then I kind of get into I start off by saying, okay, so you don't want to go. The other reason too is I was writing a book to guys who don't want to go to Disney about why they should go to Disney. Well, obviously those guys aren't going to read a book about that. So maybe if I
need convincing. So
right.
I need to go buy a book to convince me why I need to go. Yeah, okay, yeah, believable.
And the book, and I say this many times, I think the book is not only just as much for women. I think they actually tend to enjoy it a little more. I mean, the best reviews I've gotten and the best feedback I've gotten has all been from women that think it's hilarious. Maybe they're laughing at us more than with us, but I don't care. As long as they paid for the book, they can laugh anytime they want.
That's entertainment.
But so then I just talk about, well, here's why you should go. I think this is why I think that Walt Disney World is a great vacation destination for us guys, not just for kids. And I kind of give a brief, you could do this, this, and this, but let's, I don't get too detailed until we get deeper into the book. And then from there, I say, just come with me. The book is a low-tech virtual tour of the Walt Disney World Resort. So I've already paid the money. I've done the legwork. You just come along and see by the end if you don't think it's worth checking out for yourself. And then I go through, okay, here's where I think you should stay. These are the best resorts, the quote-unquote manliest resorts, the most, testosterone-filled hotels on Disney property. And then, I go park by park. And, I am a big attractions guy. I love rides, so I do get into that. And I like to take a little time because I just love writing about this stuff. So with every few chapters, I'll actually get really deep into one attraction or one ride, So, and I try to break it up with little journal entries, quote unquote.
Yeah, I've noticed the dad's journals. And,
yeah. So, but the bottom line was just to keep. I hope, at the end of the day, the bottom line is I try to keep it funny, and that people are laughing. And I think that whether you've never been there or you've been there 100 times, I think you'll laugh, and probably find different things funny than people who haven't been. But I hope that no matter if it gives you enough information or not, it'll keep you laughing, keep you entertained. And at the end of it, I really do hope anyone who reads it who hasn't been will take the plunge.
So whereabouts are you based in the States?
Just outside of Chicago.
Up north, up in the cold and windy north. So how often do you get down to Florida?
Not nearly enough, especially as it's been about 1 degree here lately. But we used to get down every year, a couple times a year. But with young kids, it's not quite as often until they're a little older, But although this year I've been fortunate to go a few times, with writing the book and then promoting the book and that sort of thing. So, but at least I trying to get to a place where we at least go down for once a year. For a decent amount of time. My wife and I used to do little trips, like 3 days, 4 days, that sort of thing. But, I'd like to get to a point where we do a full week or 10 days, that sort of thing.
Is that kind of the average American full-length break? Because obviously the Brits, we go out for, we start looking at 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah, I'm quite envious of most of my British friends who come over. But, although I suppose if you're going to make that flight, you better make it count.
Yeah.
I think it seems on the average, and I'm going to, of course, generalize here. Someone will come after me online, but whatever. On average, I think 5 days to 7 days is about, because we only get, most of us working, folk only get 2 weeks of vacation a year, maybe 3. So, we'll spend one of those if we're lucky at Disney, and then you break the other one apart generally for other things. But yeah, I mean, I know people who get to go for 10 days. I've known people to go for 2 weeks every year. God bless them. I hope to be there someday. I'm gonna have to sell a lot more books to get there, but you know.
Obviously, with that degree of holiday, do you find you actually get to the other coast much, or are you a Disney World man?
I've only been to Disneyland once, and that's because we were in California anyway. And I said when my parents asked if we wanted to go to Palm Springs with them, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with Palm Springs. It's where Bob Hope lived. There's my perception was always there isn't much to do except golf or go antique shopping, and I don't do either, specifically the last. So I wasn't too jazzed about going to Palm Springs.
Kind of sounding like God's waiting room.
Well, you said it, not me, but
we have somewhere in England called Eastbourne. It's about the same.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I actually ended up quite liking it quite a bit. But I said I'm not going to be that. It's about an hour and a half from Anaheim. So the deal was I said I'll go, but I'm not going to be an hour and a half from Disneyland and not make the trip. So we actually did drive up, spent the night, spent a full day, tried to do both parks in one day, which I don't recommend. But when you're on limited time, you do it. And I did quite love it. And I can't wait to go back. In fact, I will say, without revealing too much, if this book, does well enough, I have plans for a sequel that may take me to the other end of the country.
So what's the nature of research you ended up doing for it? Is it a lot based on just experience and the amount of times you have been, or did you find you had to go down and just go, I just want to check this out?
No, I did when I decided, okay, I really, really want to do this. And I'll tell you, basically what inspired it was, I don't follow the European economy as much, but over here, ours has been in a rough place for a few years now. And after I was laid off or let go, made redundant, however you want to put it, for like the third time in 7 years from a job, I said, I'm tired of this. I want to do what I want to do. And I said, I want to write this Disney book I've been thinking about. So I said, I got the courage to say to my wife, I need to go to Walt Disney World by myself for a week. Because that goes over well.
You've got ears of steel.
Cojones. Yeah.
Not just ears.
Cojones of steel.
Yeah. But she has her own business, and she was actually very supportive. Until I left her home alone with 2 kids, and then we found out she was pregnant while I was gone. But no, I did. I went by myself and just really, I said, I'm going to treat this like work. I'm going to dig in, from sunrise to sunset. I'm going to be, going through everything and keeping notes. I mean, I probably looked like an idiot half the time because I was walking around with a shoulder bag with a laptop and notebooks and I had a flip cam. I mean, this was just a couple of years ago. I had that flip cam, which already doesn't exist, I don't think. But taking little videos, making memos, and making videos of myself talking, which I got plenty of interesting looks from people. But I said, I'm going to take this very seriously, even though I'm writing a silly book. And I always kind of kept that attitude too, that I want this book to be silly and funny. That I don't want it to be taken too seriously. It's called The Real Man's Guide to Walt Disney World. I mean, come on. But I really dug in.
He's a bit.
Then I did a separate trip actually it's a year ago. It was a year ago Super Bowl Sunday, so technically a year ago tomorrow. But I went down again by myself for a couple of days because I wanted to cover New Fantasyland and Splitsville and Downtown Disney and a couple other things that had opened up since. So, the new test track.
So all right, then.
Serious research, including
Serious
drinking
research.
around the world.
It was like an embedded journalist, I really had to get in there and blend in.
So if you are blending in, are you a socks and sandals kind of man?
No. No, I don't wear my Crocs around the park either. No, I don't blend in that much.
And a fanny pack?
No.
So do you get contact from people who, especially from women who have read the book and have managed to use the book then to persuade their other halves to take a trip to Florida?
I haven't heard from any women saying that they were able to convince their man or whatever, but I mean, I've heard, like I said, I've gotten tons of emails and posts on Facebook from women, and most of the Amazon reviews are from women. But I did actually just the other day. I was at a party, and a friend came up to me who had given a copy of my book to one of his coworkers. Now he works for the big power company around here. They climb the poles and fix the power lines and that sort of thing. So I think that qualifies as a pretty manly man.
No, he wears a hard hat, so therefore,
right, exactly.
by definition, yeah.
Has spikes on his boots.
And anyone who dresses like any member of the village people, for real, is obviously a manly man.
But especially the Indian. But so his friend took the book and would then every night come back and reread stuff after they did things. And he actually passed along a message that he found it incredibly and helpful. He said, I couldn't believe how much I agreed with things after I did them, then came back and reread the book. So I guess I can say it works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, okay. What would be the manliest manly thing to do within the confines of Walt Disney World?
Oh, gosh.
It's a question for you, and then I'm going to put the same two questions to the other two here.
Oh, well, start thinking.
I've got my answer already. It's cool.
The manliest thing.
Yeah,
okay,
that's it. One thing.
Okay, but it's one thing, but it's in parts because you'll have to swing by Epcot, grab a steak from Le Cellier, then shoot over to the Animal Kingdom, grab a Safari Amber from one of the drink stands, then get on Everest and eat the steak and drink the beer while you're riding Everest. That's the manliest thing I can think to do.
And that is the best use for a GoPro on holiday there is. Because that challenge is now laid down.
It is.
Yeah, Paul only asked that question because he's taking notes for his trip.
All right.
I've already got the GoPro. I've just got to get beer and steak on Everest. Yeah.
And see if you can get one of the belly dancers from Morocco to come with you, because then you will get I will give you the Ears of Steel crown.
That's the amount of videos I've seen on YouTube. That is such a dad thing. I've got a video of this, darling. I've got a video of this.
Yes, because it's culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If that isn't combined with the poi ball dancers at SeaWorld that used to be there, then yeah, fine. Go on, lads. Have a go.
I'll get my one done out of the way quickly. So for me, manliest thing I could do is get on It's a Small World with a diet Dasani.
Diet Dasani.
I think that's quite manly. No, I think the most manly thing. Now I've not ridden on it, so I'm guessing, but I'm thinking Test Track 2 with 2 turkey legs.
Oh,
I don't even like eating the turkey legs, but they are manly.
I was thinking the photographing dinosaur, but eating the turkey leg.
There you go.
Yeah.
The other one is Dive Quest and wrestling the shark in front of the dinos in Coral Reef.
Now, with the dinosaur one, you could substitute the turkey leg for a rack of ribs from Flame Tree Barbecue, because then the sauce all over your face looks like blood. So it looks like maybe you ate one of the dinosaurs.
Whilst wearing a horned plastic helmet and a hammer that you got from Norway.
From Norway, right.
Actually, I'll tell you what could be even manlier going on the dinosaur ride is if you went on the dinosaur ride with a loaded gun. Oh no, someone's done that. Sorry. My bad.
Oh dear, oh dear. Right, a quick break for the moment, whilst the pub singer, who's already warmed up his vocal cords, gives us a quick break. And then we've got a question from Facebook.
Ooh.
It's a good question.
It is. So, bear with us while he's warming up that was just glorious.
That's classic.
Phenomenal work.
Polish version.
This is a treat and an honor as an American to be in the presence of the pub singer.
He is available for bookings.
Yep.
I've heard.
Yeah, and still requests, but no one's actually requested anything.
Wait, hang on, isn't he booked for the national anthem for the Super Bowl tonight?
Oh,
right. It's the main reason I'm watching.
I just wait for the wardrobe malfunction at halftime.
Oh no.
Bearing in mind the halftime show is Bruno Mars featuring Red Hot Chili Peppers. This year, I'm hoping for no wardrobe malfunctions.
Right.
Given their penchant for wearing socks.
Socks, right? You don't want those socks coming off.
Far too much testosterone on that stage during the halftime show.
Yes. Right. Anyway, the question was raised. Our resident social media has actually started doing some work with our Facebook page because we were lazy. And obviously, when I say we, I mean me.
No, there's three of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I even give you the log on to it? Was I that lazy?
No. So maybe it probably does rest a bit more of you, but it's a team effort. But the Facebook thing is exploding. So if you haven't already liked us, please do facebook.com/DisAfterDark.
And every a couple of days to a day before we start recording, we're going to post a question. The sort of question that you'll find being bantered around in a pub by some blokes, and you get to be part of it. And the question that we asked this week was, okay, you've died. Very sorry about that. Which ride or attraction would you like your ashes scattered in, on, or under? And it's open to Universal, SeaWorld, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, and Walt Disney World.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, the thing is, what I like most is this is obviously a new segment we're going with, one that we're hoping that will last for quite a long time. And immediately we started with the most morbid question we could. There's no jollier way to start a new segment than you're dead.
We're British, goddammit. We're supposed to be morbid.
Just because it doesn't work on the radio, I'm going to have to describe the horned fingers I'm currently making in a rock and roll style. Look, we'll read out some other answers first of all. Lee Malaby. Hello, Lee, from Universal Orlando Podcast. Gotta be Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey in Islands of Adventure. I have to be part of something Harry Potter.
I think that's quite
I think that's fair. I'd like to be part of Hermione. Now she's older, obviously. Resort Luke Bob. We've had him on as a guest before now. Got to be the graveyard scene at the mansion.
Good choice.
But he has always liked the backside of water. So
who hasn't?
Peter Pontecaro. Again, the mansion is the only choice, just to be the 1000th happy haunt. Any other answers are just wrong.
We'll see about that.
To be fair, Peter, they're just not the same as yours. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, I think, before we even read any more responses, I think the thing is, purely because the fact that the ride tells you there's 999 and there's room for one more, it's the obvious choice. But is it because it's the obvious choice, that's why it's not the correct choice?
Look, Justin Barker, who actually picked a non-haunted mansion choice to be living with the land.
See, that's
a good one.
That's a good one.
And I think that's quite green.
Grow there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's green.
I think that's very green of him, and who knows how many nitrates there are in the human body.
He's thinking the great circle of life there. I like it.
Aye, yeah. Darren Schmidt, again from the Universal Podcast. So we like you guys. I'd like to be loaded onto the Mr. Fusion at the Back to the Future DeLorean at Universal Orlando. That's an awesome choice. I like that one.
That means nothing to me, old Vienna, because I never got to go on the ride.
It's retro, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just being shut inside the Mr. Fusion though.
Actually, sorry, just on that note, because a lot of our American listeners, and even maybe some of our UK ones, may not have heard this news, but it does tie in with what we just talked about. They announced that this year, I think it's this year, or is it next year? Oh, no, so it's next year, it's for the 30th anniversary. The West End stage will see Back to the Future, the musical.
88 miles an hour.
Gigawatts.
Yeah, they're gonna have to sing
it again.
Yeah, the pub singer. Great Scott! Oh dear.
It's it's interesting. Let's say that.
Yeah, Chris Sudley inside the mansion, down the corridor of doors, and Craig can't see past the haunted mansion. So
you should try looking somewhere else.
Nick's stage, Walt's apartment, or up in the Imageworks playground. He'd also like to have his ashes spread in the Subs Lagoon at Disneyland.
Which you could do.
That's interesting. I don't know whether I just want to spend most of the rest of my eternity gunged up in a filter.
I saw Brian Turner said Manta at SeaWorld Orlando.
Yeah.
That's got to be quite hard to dispose of your ashes there, surely. It's quite a thrilling ride. You know where they're going to end up.
Yeah, you'd want to sit at the back, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to sit at the front. That'd be messy.
Candice Scott Nelson in the Seven Seas Lagoon.
Yeah.
And I'd be quite happy to be scattered randomly around the Seven Seas Lagoon.
So would that be your pick?
So, yeah, random. Well, my pick, I wrote down probably just randomly in the various flower beds around so that I'd get a good view of illuminations. Wherever it happened to be. But I tried to avoid the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
I was thinking possibly something like Rock and Roller Coaster. If I can get scattered halfway up, I'll just get a whole load of people in the face. They come off like great ash down them. What the hell is this?
Not the shocker.
So, guys, go on then.
Paul?
Go, Nick.
No? Go on, Paul.
Right, okay, so I was driving today, so I had a bit of time to think about this, and I probably went overboard. That's okay.
Okay.
So I've got a second and a first choice. My second choice, right,
Yep.
is the urn would need to be like an antique urn, retro, a little bit aged, artificially aged, and then a family member would need to take it into the library in the Tower of Terror. Accomplice would put a blob of super glue on one of the pieces of furniture and then plop the urn on top of it. So I wouldn't actually be dead, I'd be in the Twilight Zone for eternity.
But you could take that to extremes and actually scatter your ashes around. They'd never clean it.
No, you'd never know, would you? I mean, there's probably 50 people in there, you just don't know it.
It'd just remain there. It's like, oh, very good realistic dust. I don't know.
So then I went from something sensible like that to the extreme. So in this case, this requires a lot of planning, and we'll forget about the pre-planning in terms of how you actually get the body to the gates. But in this case, I'm not actually ashes. I'm strapped to an ECV, right? So go with me on this one, okay?
All right.
Shades on, sun hat on, so you can't actually tell that I'm no longer in the land of the living.
Weekend
And
at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, weekend at Dolans.
Yeah.
There's your show title.
Family member needs to operate the ECV handle, get me to the Maelstrom, get me into the Viking longship on my own, so the rest of the family members have to say, too scary for us, he's going to ride this on his own. And just as I disappear around the corner, fiery arrow into the longship, ashes. There we go.
Oh, yes. How very...
Spontaneous.
Yeah, that would take quite a lot of planning, and you rather hope there isn't another family in the boat with you.
No.
Useless trivia.
Yeah.
I know, shocking it's coming from me. In Norwegian, you would actually be put on a Viking skip.
For what?
A Viking skip.
Okay.
That's how they pronounce it.
Fair enough.
What we would call a Viking ship is a Viking skip.
Okay.
Yeah. The other bit of Norwegian I know.
Yeah.
Tore André Flo, which is now former footballer that we knew in England as Tore André Flo.
Oh. Okay.
That's pronounced correctly, you see. That's all my Norwegian. I'm out.
The only bit of Norwegian I know is, you are not the first to come this way.
Back. And I don't know what Norwegian for quick, get out the cinema is.
I wanted to learn that phrase in Norwegian when I went to see Wild Wild West when I was in Norway one year. Terrible film, and one of the few times I actually wanted to leave the cinema whilst watching the film.
So you went to watch Wild Wild West while you were in Norway?
Well,
was it an English showing as well? Was it dubbed?
When in Norway.
Yeah. Was it dubbed or was it an English showing?
So this is the thing about Norway. Sorry to go off topic. I've spent a lot of time in Norway over the years. But Norwegian television and film is in English with Norwegian subtitles. And this is why when you if you ever meet a Norwegian, their English is amazing. It's pretty better than yours. Because they learn it at school from the age of 5 until the age of 18. And all their TV is in English with subtitles.
It's just annoying because they're Norwegians, appalling if you ever tried talking that to.
Exactly. Exactly. So lovely people. But yeah, so going to cinema there was fine. But one of the girls that I was there with wanted to see Wild Wild West. So that's what we went to see, and it was as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Excellent. So who's got choice left?
Me and Bart.
Go ahead.
Go.
So Bart, are you ready to go, or?
I suppose. I mean, it would have to be something, a classic attraction, ride. I don't know if you should sprinkle my ashes in Dumbo, because I don't want some kid sitting on me with sticky fingers from cotton candy or something. So probably, and Haunted Mansion just seems too obvious. So I guess it would have to be Pirates of the Jungle Cruise. I want to be by the water. I don't know if I want to keep being circulated through the water. Like, I don't want to get stuck in a filter. But you could probably hide me somewhere on the banks of the Jungle Cruise, or somewhere in Pirates. Throw me into one of the treasure rooms. That'd be fine.
Not. It's a small world.
No.
We wouldn't like to be stuck there for eternity.
No. I'm hoping to avoid hell if that's possible. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
I have heard actually that the animatronics in that ride, It's a Small World, are actually filled with the spirits,
the condemned souls,
evil people. Yeah, irritated and the such.
999 grinning ghosts. The other 4,000 are in somewhere else.
I have had a little bit of time to think about it. I've got a few options. I really can't decide between them. So it would either have to be something involving Casey's Corner at Disneyland Paris, because I have such an emotional attachment to a shop that sells average hot dogs. but I'm there all the time. I think it's my first memory of going to Disney Park was Casey's Corner, so that's probably why. So that would be quite a good one. But I am really leaning towards having my ashes mixed in to some fireworks during a production of Wishes.
Yeah.
Again, because of the emotional attachment that I have to that particular show. And just imagine being shot up above the castle and just kind of rain down on the castle and the surrounding areas. That'd be quite a nice way to go.
Some people think far too much about this. But I think it's stunning to actually be rolled up into a firework and shot up.
To be fair,
do you want to be one of the really classy star-shaped ones, or are you quite happy just to be a normal-sized explosion?
No, I'm not fussy. I just want to be part of the show. That's fine. And I think Hunter S. Thompson went for a similar route, not at Disney World, of course, but I just think that's what he did with his ashes in the end. He fired them off into space, which was quite cool. But I think that'd be quite a nice way to go.
Yeah, I mean, the whole post got shared around a few times. So what else have we got? Matt Bateman. The moat surrounding Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland.
There you go.
Todd Silver, I want my ashes mixed into the soil at the flower planters all around the hub at Disneyland. So, yeah. Great. We shall keep doing that before every show. And who knows, maybe we'll get enough answers one day to actually pad the whole show out and not have to do the news at the beginning.
Never know.
That's the idea, maybe. Who knows?
We're lucky.
Yeah, on that note, if people do want to drop us a line and ideas for suggestions, polite, impolite, we couldn't really care less. How do they do that?
Well, of course, they can visit our website at www.DisAfterDark.com, or they can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
Or they can find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark, Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and MiceChat.com.
And Instagram, DisAfterDark, Pinterest, DisAfterDark, YouTube, DisAfterDark Podcast, because it wouldn't let me use DisAfterDark for some reason. Bart, and where do we find you?
You can find me pretty much at all those same places, but obviously not DisAfterDark. But you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Bart A. Scott, because there is a football player over here named Bart Scott who got all the other ones. You just go to earsofsteel.com is the easiest way, and there's links to everything. I have facebook.com/earsofsteel as well. Facebook or the website are probably the best ways, or say hi on Twitter. And I take on all comers.
Fantastic. Good luck with the book. Yeah.
And if anyone does get confused and messages us regarding Bart, we'll forward your messages on.
Great.
Don't worry.
Yeah, and if anyone does message the real Bart Scott, the sports player,
he won't know what you're talking.
Yeah, it'll just look bemused.
Before we go, I need to just send a shout out to somebody, a good friend of mine called Eric, who is my American contact for a lot of Disney merchandise that we can't get over here. At the moment, it seems to be a lot of Alice in Wonderland baby clothes, which we can't get in the UK. So he kind of gets them shipped to him to then send to us. And we just got delivery of some mint Oreos. Cool mint Oreos are the best thing in the world right about now.
That might be the case, but that's the least Disney merchandise he's ever sent us.
No, it came with a lot of Disney merchandise. To be fair, it wasn't just a box with some Oreos in it. That was just the icing on the cake. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you very much. Appreciate the Oreos. They're all gone. They didn't last very long in this household, unfortunately. But yeah.
And next week I'll go back to iTunes and look at any more 5-star reviews you've got and give you a name check.
Well, this is a good plug, because if you haven't given us a 5-star review on iTunes, or, to be honest, any amount of stars. I mean, if you only think we're a 2-star show, that's fine. We'd like to hear that.
Leave your name, we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, you can say this show's crap, that's fine. Leave your name, we'll read it out. We've done it before, we'll do it again.
They can't say that, I'll have to beep it out.
Oh, well, say other stuff. But, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Nice to see you. And, dear listener, we shall speak to you all in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. I love the pub.
Hey!
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Dis After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
At my signal, unleash hell.
And there we go. We're out.